Hi, I'm Heather and this is Madhu, two former solicitors and current homeowners, and we're from PEXA, an organisation that's transformed how property is transacted in Australia by digitising the lodgement and financial settlement components of the conveyancing process. We've set down roots in the UK to work with industry to achieve the same. And as much as we'd love to say we're here to help you today, right at this very minute, it's probably closer to tomorrow that our vision of locking in a date and time for each completion will be a reality. Research frequently shows that moving house is one of the most stressful life events in the UK, including a study conducted just last year by Legal in General, which suggested it was actually more anxiety inducing than having children or separating from your partner. I always think that moving house should be one of the more exciting experiences of our lives, though there are times when it's not. Perhaps a move follows the death of a loved one or separation from a partner. And in these circumstances, I think the best we can expect is that it will be uneventful and not contribute to any additional stress. No one goes to work to do a bad job, or I hope they don't. And I'm quite sure that conveyancers aren't conspiring to figure out how they can make the process more difficult for their clients. They've been placed in a really tricky position. So much has been added to the process over the years, but so little has been taken away. And what remains feels unwieldy. And this is what conveyancers rather, are navigating for their clients every day. It's hard to explain the intricacies of what actually goes on behind the scenes to a client, though it's arguably not really something for them to worry about. They've poured their life savings plus more if they've got a mortgage into purchasing a home. They understandably want some certainty about when they can move. They want to be kept updated on progress. They don't want to have unnecessary administrative tasks added to what we all know is a fairly hefty to-do list when moving house. And often they can't understand how their conveyancer isn't the repository of all information relating to their purchase. But these aren't really unfair expectations. In a modern society, consumers expect a certain experience, and even though we know there is a limit to how closely that might be able to align with buying something on Amazon, it doesn't change how they think.
So why is this important? In an industry where, in theory, about 5,000 firms are competing for work, most of who don't want to participate in a race to the bottom on fees, the differentiating factor is experience. Delivering a good customer experience requires intense consideration of what the client experience is. We've both experienced conveyancing from a practitioner and a client perspective, so we can appreciate both sides. No one is going to say that the process is perfect in the UK. In fact, it's far from it. And we are a way away from an Uber or Amazon type experience. But that's not to say there aren't things within the control and influence of firms to change that would shift the dial on the customer experience. So, what can we do from today? The first tip is to stop printing. I can appreciate this used to be the norm back in the day. So, for lawyers who have been in practice for many years, it's force of habit to print and file every email on the correspondence bin or print the contract pack to file it. But does anything actually have to be printed? Particularly since COVID and the use of effective and advanced case management systems, everyone in the industry has sophisticated their ways of working. Tip number two is to have no post. This would stop things getting lost. It saves a huge amount of admin time opening and distributing the post, but mainly the unnecessary delays caused waiting for things to be sent or to be received. Tip number three is digitally executed deeds. Not everyone has a printer. And even if they did, it's a long winded and inconvenient process to print, sign, and scan it back, or even post it back. Tip number four, digital lodgement. Although there isn't really a choice now, this will help speed up the completion of registration and provide client satisfaction of the property being legally theirs. Tip number five is a digital solution for ID&V and AML. Some firms have started implementing a digital procedure for this, but the majority will still require their clients to physically come into an office and present their ID, which is inconvenient for people to take time out of their days. Not to mention, each client has to come in. So if one can make it, they might need to wait for their partner, who could be working in a highly demanding job or unsociable hours, or they might need to arrange to bring in an elderly parent. Tip number six is to look at points in the process where clients typically call or are confused. Can you contact them and proactively update them instead rather than wait? It's very common in a conveyancing transaction to be waiting on something or someone. So rather than have your client chase you, get ahead and schedule a weekly call. Hi, just to let you know, unfortunately, I'm still waiting for X, so I haven't been able to progress much since we last spoke, but I have chased them or I have done Y. Tip number 7 is order funds early for completion. A lot of firms do this, but a lot of firms don't. So we're left with an imbalance of who is prepared ahead of completion. And my final tip is price for value. Most lawyers charge per hour for their services, while conveyancing tends to be a fixed fee. It might be an idea to outline the tasks that will be undertaken, how long each part of the process takes, just to emphasize how many hours of work has gone into this sometimes very minimal fee.
We're not here to suggest that we'll be able to remove every friction point in the conveyancing experience. And if anyone does, make sure you pressure test what they're saying. But there are strong arguments in favour of really scrutinising the experience your clients have with your firm and the service you provide. Even making several small changes, like those Madhu just spoke about, can really shift the dial on the experience your clients have with you and, importantly, whether their move is the most stressful event of their lives or not. The butterfly effect considers the meaningful impact a series of small changes can make on something quite complex, and I think we can easily anchor conveyancing to this. There's every reason to start this work now. It places you in good stead for more wholesale change later on, but more importantly, it's the right thing to do for your clients.